Hello everyone. Before we dive in, be sure to first check our previous videos. Drop your thoughts, feelings, and lessons in the comments below. Like the video and subscribe so you never miss stories like this. Let's get into it. Say it, Malik. Say you didn't do it. Nia's voice shook the window panes of their Atlanta apartment, knuckles white around the back of a dining chair. Malik's jaw flexed. I did what you accused me of, what you've been doing. The room smelled like lemon cleaner and burnt takeout rice. Their love, once easy as Sunday jazz, now sounded like a record that wouldn't stop skipping. She blinked, stunned. So you cheated because you thought I did? He lifted his palms. I knew you were flirting, Nia. Everybody at your job knew. If I'm the villain either way, I wore the horns. They had been soft once. Two silhouettes sway in the kitchen at midnight, cheek to cheek, whispering plans about a house in Decatur, a dog with velvet ears, vacations anywhere with warm water and cheap fruit. Back then, Malik fixed phones at a small shop on Auburn Avenue, and Nia worked front desk at a dentist nearby. Money was tight, but kisses were plentiful, and the summer rain felt like a benediction. They bought candles at the discount store and pretended every dinner was a date. No one warned them that love could be a light that also cast dangerous shadows. The promotion came like a trumpet blast. Nia landed a project coordinator role at a sleek Buckhead firm. Salary doubled, benefits like a bow on top. She twirled in their hallway with the offer letter, laughing with shock, and Malik scooped her up, spinning until both wobbled and fell to the carpet. They held hands and stared at the ceiling fan turning slow as a lazy planet. We're going to be okay, she whispered, the O and OK long and round. He kissed her wrist. They clinked 2 cheap glasses of Martinelli's. It tasted like pears and possibility, sweet and fizzy. New schedules branched like ivy across their days. Nia woke earlier for polished hair and soft glam makeup, slid into cream blouses and pencil skirts, then joined a skyline of elevators and shared coffee machines. Malik's hours stretched too. Customers who had waited weeks showed up with cracked screens and panicked voices, begging for miracles. They texted each other at odd angles of the clocks. Tiny lifelines, memes, emojis, a quick you good. But the thread thinned. The city moved faster. They loved each other and missed each other in the same breath, like reaching for a hand in fog. Rumors, like gnats, arrived humming and impossible to swat cleanly. A friend's cousin said she saw Nia laughing too long with a senior consultant in the lobby. A co-worker of Malik's said a guy from finance always walked her to the parking garage. A woman at church whispered that she'd heard things. Work happy hours, Uber rides shared, inside jokes that sounded like secrets. Nia brushed them off at first, calling them office noise. But noise becomes narrative if repeated enough. And for Malik, the words perched on his shoulder all day, nibbling away at his piece with tiny teeth. To be honest, Nia flirted sometimes. She'd him along with compliments because they were easy as tapping a foot to music. She liked making people feel seen. The new job felt like standing on a platform under bright lights. She needed friends, allies, smiles to carry the weight. She didn't give out numbers or step into back seats, but she let a hand linger at her elbow too long, laughed at jokes that weren't that funny. Told a team lead he looked sharp today and enjoyed the way his face brightened. It felt harmless until it didn't anymore. Malik noticed the tone shifts, the delayed text replies, the selfies in elevators with mirrored silver and a sliver of some other suit's shoulder. He swallowed his questions like hard seeds, waiting for them to pass without cutting him. How's work? He'd ask. Busy, she'd say. Exhale, tidy her mascara at the hallway mirror. He studied the way she lowered her phone face down. He reminded himself he trusted her. But trust is a muscle. Let it atrophy and it trembles under weight. At night, he dreamed of faceless men in pressed shirts and woke tasting metal, heart running the red lights. One Friday, Malik closed the shop early to surprise Nia. He swung by the firm with a bouquet wrapped in butcher paper, the stems cool against his palm. In the lobby, he saw her through glass, pinning a sticky note to a board, laughing with a man whose shirt fit like an answer. The guy leaned in, a whisper too near her ear. Malik froze, the bouquet a useless flag. Nia's laugh was bright, familiar, and it cut him anyway. He left before she turned, rode the elevator down alone, and sat in his car breathing like someone learning weather. He didn't confront her that night. He cooked lemon pepper wings and set the table with the good plates. She kissed his cheek, thanked him, and apologized for being late. When she went to shower, he stared at the steam rolling under the bathroom door and imagined fog glass and scribbled names. Bile climbed his throat. The next day, he scrolled through old pictures, each one a window. He wanted to leap through them to simpler rooms. Instead, he put his phone down, picked it back up, and answered a DM he should have ignored. Someone from high school, smiling. The first time, Malik told himself it was just a dinner. An old friend, Tasha, with a laugh like velvet and stories that drew circles around the table. They ate at a place with neon signs and paper napkins, talked about the past until it felt like a blanket. When she pressed her knee against his under the booth, he didn't move. When her hand found his, he let it. The city outside glowed with red brake lights. He thought of Nia's office lobby, and that whisper near her ear. The thought became permission. Permission became an open door. Nia felt the shift, a hollowness in her text threads, Malik's sudden showering before bed, the way he changed passwords he used share absent-mindedly. She chose to double down on goodness. Left him notes on the fridge, sent photos of sunrise light on her coffee mug, bought his favorite cinnamon toothpaste. She willed the rumors into smoke. But smoke still clings to fabric. It smells like something burned. A colleague teased her about work-husband jokes during happy hour, and instead of shutting it down cleanly, she laughed too loud and swirled her straw. Beneath the laughter, anxiety pricked. The argument started over nothing. Who forgot to take the laundry out of the washer, why the milk tasted different, whether the couch needed steam cleaning. But arguments are poorly disguised prayers for what we actually want. Malik accused. Nia defended. Words sharpened, grew teeth, drew blood. Just admit it, he said. Admit you like the attention. And you, she shot back. You like the excuse. He flinched. She pressed on. You think I don't see the late-night messages, the way you hide your phone? The room throbbed with old songs they used to love. Neither could find the melody. He tried honesty that wasn't whole. I wouldn't have stepped out if you hadn't already made us look foolish, he said, throat tight. She reeled like he'd slapped her. The truth was, flirting is not cheating, and Malik knew it. But pain tries to make the math even. He wanted the ledger to balance. His ache against her attention, his betrayal against her rumors. Nia stared at him as if counting the time she had swallowed pride to bring peace, the time she'd said no while smiling. You chose this, she said quietly. Don't pin that on my laugh. They tried to reset. Sunday morning pancakes, a long walk by the Beltline, touching shoulders at a food truck park. For a moment, sunlight cut the tension like scissors, and they remembered how different a kiss feels when both are actually present. They promised rules, no happy hours for a while, phones open on the table, gentle check-ins instead of cross-examinations. But rules, like diets in January, can crumble without deeper appetite changes. Each returned to the old sorenesses. Malik scrolling messages he didn't delete fast enough. Nia basking in compliments that felt like batteries recharging the tired parts. Malik told himself he wasn't with anyone. He floated. He let strangers admire his forearms and the way he listened. He slept with Tasha twice more, then reacted to a different girl's story with fire emoji, and found himself in seats at a Hawks game, laughing too loud at nothing. Afterward, he stared at his reflection in a bar mirror and didn't like the way his eyes looked like exits. He kept thinking of Nia's car keys on their hallway hook, how he used to kiss her fingers one by one. Lust is an anesthetic. The ache kept returning. At work, Nia started avoiding the consultant with the tailored shirts. She moved her desk, said thanks, without letting her voice lift into music, ducked out of happy hour at 9 sharp. She told a friend she wanted to fix things at home, and a friend arched an eyebrow, then stopped playing with matches. Nia nodded, but matches are a tiny power. Strike, spark, brief control over darkness. When Malik's accusations returned like tides, she felt trapped, righteous, furious. You keep naming me a villain, she thought, and I'm still in here trying. The day she stopped trying began like any other. A project milestone hit, The team went out for sushi and martinis. Nia held fast a club soda for 2 hours, laughed at a reasonable decibel, set alarms to leave. Near 11, the consultant asked, "Do you ever get tired of proving you're worth it?" The question sliced a thread. She imagined Malik scrolling through another woman's photos. She imagined her own face on trial in her living room. She ordered one martini, then another. On the sidewalk, the night air felt like permission. If I'm already accused, she thought, dizzy and brittle, maybe I'll at least pick my crime. It wasn't romance. It wasn't even fun. It felt like flipping a table just to hear plates shatter. She followed him into a rideshare, into a condo with expensive rugs, into a mistake that didn't soften anything. In the bathroom, she stared at herself, liner smudged, mouth unfamiliar. "You look tired," she whispered to the mirror. "You look like an alibi." In the morning, she returned home, sat on the edge of the bed, and wanted to rewind 12 hours like a song. Malik came from the kitchen with coffee. He studied her face. "Where were you?" The question hovered, heavy. She could have lied and said with Denise, "The way people drag friendships named through mud when they panic." She didn't. "Nowhere I'm proud of," Nia answered, watching his eyes widen then harden, then go distant as a far-off train. He didn't ask for details. The shape of the truth was enough. For a long time, neither spoke. Outside, someone's car alarm yelped once and stopped. "So we're even?" Malik finally said the word sour. Nia shook her head. "There's no even in this. Only wreckage." He looked at their framed photo on the bookshelf, smiles too bright, and turned it face down. They tried therapy because love deserves a witness. The therapist's office had plants and a quiet diffuser that smelled like eucalyptus. "What did you need that you didn't ask for?" she asked him. Malik said, "Reassurance." Nia said, "Trust me without making me earn it by losing myself." They held hands. They cried. They left hopeful. But healing is homework, and both brought their old study habits. Last-minute cramming, skipping chapters that felt too hard. Nia quit after 3 sessions. Work deadlines, calendar conflicts. Malik stopped scheduling after 4, money tight, pride tighter. The plan in the therapist's office kept thriving anyway. Their apartment learned new tricks for making silence loud. Forks clinked like cymbals. Air conditioner hum sounded like scolding. The sofa had a dent where Malik sat alone, scrolling, then tossing his phone aside like it had burned him. Nia, sleepless, baked blueberry muffins at 2 a.m., slid a plate his way in the morning, then left it there when he didn't touch them. If you map a home's motion, you'll chart a dance or a war. They circled each other in careful arcs, eyes on the ground, waiting for a fresh reason to sprint or the courage to stop. One night, Malik's phone lit up with a message Nia couldn't unsee, a selfie under soft bar lighting, a caption that said missing this. He snatched the phone too late. Heat shot up Nia's neck. "You dare me into hell," she said, voice low. "I begged you to believe me." He looked trapped, then angry. Anger is better than trapped. "You made yourself a myth at that job," he spit. "If you wanted me calm, you couldn't keep sparkling." She laughed once, bitter. "So I should be less? To be loved?" The word less bounced around the room like a dare. They listed their grievances like receipts, time-stamped, itemized, with tax. "You stopped asking about my day. You knew the rumors hurt me, but you combed them like hair. You kept secrets and called them privacy. You made strangers' compliments more important than my faith in you. You made your hurt a hall pass. You turned your innocence into royalty." The receipts piled, paper cuts everywhere. When they'd run out of breath, they stared. "How do you fix a sinkhole? You can't fill it with wishes. You shore the edges. You reroute. Or you move." They stayed. Then they didn't. Breaking up was both slow and sudden. Slow, because every fight had carried a suitcase. Sudden, because the last straw is always quieter than legend promises. A missed call when Nia's car had a flat, Malik arriving 20 minutes late with no apology, a look on her face that said this is the rest of my life if I stay. She packed deliberately. Jeans, blouses, the mug from their first trip to Savannah. He watched the door like it might redraw itself into a wall. They didn't yell. The quiet felt ecclesiastical, like a church after a funeral congregation leaves. They divided the simple life they'd built. The plant with the stubborn leaves went with Nia. The record player with the scratch-it track stayed with Malik. She took the off-white throw blanket her aunt had crocheted. He kept the cast-iron skillet, heavy as a promise you don't know how to keep. Friends picked sides without admitting it. Family members offered wisdom that tasted like old bread. The city kept shimmering, indifferent. On a Tuesday, Nia signed a short-term lease. On a Wednesday, Malik changed the Wi-Fi password. On a Thursday, rain fell so hard it erased sidewalk chalk. In her new apartment, Nia found old feelings. Relief that silence would be chosen, grief that silence had replaced a laugh she wanted. She bought a cheap rug and placed it carefully, wanting softness at the center of the room. She called her mother and said, "I messed up." Her mother listened like a good porch listens, sturdy, patient. "Baby, you can't argue yourself back into Eden," she said. "But you can plant, you can water, you can make a yard you don't have to defend." Nia cried at that, at the idea of building a life that didn't demand proof. Regret showed up as a mirror that didn't lie. Nia replayed the first rumor, and her first laugh that validated it. The second rumor, and the shoulder she didn't shrug away. The third rumor, and the elevator selfie with too much shine. She imagined the version of herself who had stopped it early. The woman who said, "No jokes about husbands at work," who left happy hour at 8 always, who called Malik from the parking lot and said, "Hold me accountable kindly." She couldn't find a time machine, only a pen. She wrote a letter to herself she'd actually read. Malik returned to a home that had familiar air, but a different gravity. He cooked in the skillet for one, burned the sauce, ate it anyway. He turned the record player, let that scratch-it track stutter the chorus like grief. He blocked numbers he should have never collected. He took a long shower, leaned his forehead against tile, and admitted out loud. She flirted. "I cheated." The sentence didn't balance anything. He went to the phone. Type a message he didn't send. "I wanted you to be a saint because I was already planning to be human." They met once months later at a coffee shop with windows like lenses. They didn't hug. They didn't relitigate. Nia said, "I should have shut it all down earlier. The laughter, the rumors. I was careless with the truth, and it cost me." Malik nodded slowly. "I should have fought for you, instead of using you for my excuse. I built my case so strong I forgot I wanted a life, not a verdict." They both looked down at the foam, art dissolving into brown. "I hope you get everything clean," she said. "You too," he answered. "You too. If love is a house, there stood on good bones but weak beams. In the end, the wind didn't break it. The termites did, tiny choices repeated. Nia's regret wasn't cinematic. It was practical. She missed the taste of his Sunday pancakes, the way he reached for her hand on yellow lights, the softness in his voice when he said her name like a safe place. She hung new curtains in her apartment and opened them wide. She watered a stubborn plant. When rumors buzz at work, she swatted them cleanly. Some lessons arrive like thunder, others like everyday light. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and share this video with your friends. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a powerful story drop.